Hi, welcome back to the Stay Home Artist channel. Today we're going to go over the sunflower and how I like to stitch it. I'm going to use the basket weave stitch to start out, and I'm going to be using two different colors of thread. So I've got a size 22 chenille needle, 6 strands of lighter brown color, and I'm just starting with some straight stitches to fill in the middle of the sunflower. Now that my straight stitching is set up for the basket weave, I'm going to begin in the middle, and I'm just going to weave over and under each little line. And I do have a full tutorial on this stitch. I'll link it above. If you're a beginner with this, I suggest checking that out first. So each little line that I create with the alternating thread color that I have is going to be opposite of the one before it. So if I started going over, this next line I'm going to start going under, and so forth. I mean, you can see what I'm doing here, which is better than any way I can explain it to you. The edges can be a little bit tricky when you're doing a basket weave, a round shape kind of like this. But the nice thing is when you start with this, you can always fill in with your satin stitching around any empty areas. So we'll be doing that next because I do have a few little blank spots that I want to fill in. Now I've got that same size 22 chenille needle with 6 strands of this yellow thread, and each little petal that I stitch here is going to be stitched individually, and I'm going to taper all of the stitches in toward the center of the petal. So I'll show you what I mean here. So every stitch I start at the very end of the petal, bringing it inward toward the center, but each stitch I'm going to bring slightly angled in toward the first stitch that I made in the center, and that'll just give me a little bit more definition in all of my flower petals. Since there's so many, I don't want them to blend together and be hard to recognize, so it'll give us some more definition and add some really cool texture to each individual petal. And I'm just going to repeat this process for every petal. Normally with a satin stitch, I would suggest using just 2 strands of thread with a different needle that's got a smaller eye, but I personally like the texture that it gives this sunflower using a full 6 strands of thread. It makes it a little bit more bulky, and because petals aren't so small and detailed, you can still get a very neat seamless line with your satin stitching by using a larger needle with more thread at the same time. You can still get a really pretty satin stitch here. That's about all there is to it. Thanks for joining me. I will see you next time. Please hit subscribe if you learned something. Thank you.